Okay, so off-plan is buying a property before its completion, typically without seeing any development there at all. So it is literally a property that's bought off the plan, in terms of, you might see a set of floor plans, a snazzy brochure, and you're choosing to buy property typically directly from the developer and prior to its completion. So it would tend to take 3 to 4 years for the project to get to handover stage. Okay, so the benefits are, there's multiple benefits buying off plan. One is that you're going to be buying a brand new property directly from the developer. So you're going to be buying the very latest in terms of quality, in terms of construction and all these aspects. Another one is that you don't have to worry about a seller in the transaction, so there's no seller that's going to potentially change their mind. If you're being offered a unit from the developer, you know the price, typically the price is fixed, so you don't have to worry in terms of, am I getting a fair deal compared to everyone else? Am I negotiating the right price? Because it is a fixed price. The next reason would be that the payment terms. So instead of if it was a ready property, you'd have to pay 100%, whether that's by cash or by a mortgage financing, you'd have to pay the full price. With an off-plan property, depending on the payment terms that are set out from the developer, it could be as little as 5 or 10% for the first payment. And from there, you would know the payment terms that you've agreed to. So that's the sort of structured payment plan through the process of the construction. Typically linked to construction and all the way, so those 3 to 4 years to the handover, those payments could be spread across that period. Okay, so for investors in Dubai, obviously the market here has been very hot recently, certainly, and in the past also, there's been times where you've seen huge capital growth. So to really take advantage of that, investors who've been buying off plan, let's give you an example to say that we had a 30-70 payment plan and you only had to pay 30% during the construction. You've effectively got that leverage. So if you've only paid 30%, let's give another simple example. Say the property went up 30% in value. On the property that you bought that was ready, that was 100% paid, you would have made a 30% return on your investment. On this, if you've only paid 30% of the total value, you've effectively doubled your money. So this is the attractive bit, and without having to obtain a loan or any external factors, you're effectively getting some leverage from the payment plan. So certainly in the last few years, this is where opportunities have come, where you sometimes hear stories of people who buy a property and they sell it the same night. Hopefully that doesn't happen too much, because I don't think it's sustainable for the market, but it certainly has happened in the past. And that's what gives that buzz, if you like, that excitement of buying and typically called flipping a property. It hasn't been happening so much in the last year or so, and I think that's good news. I think that's a sign of a much more mature market. But that's the potential, shall we say, that's there for using that payment plan as leverage. It depends what you want to use the property for. So of course, if you were looking for a property to live in with you and your family, then you may well be best off to go and, look at the ready villa developments, look at the ready communities and pick a property that you can see, that you can touch, that you could potentially renovate if that's what you wanted to do. So that would maybe be more suited for you. If you are looking for purely an investment, a lot of our investors will buy a unit off plan, wait till the handover, and then we would tend to manage the property, whether it's on short-term or long-term leasing, and they would keep that unit for, let's say, the next 5 to 10 years. So for me, the opportunity there is that they've bought a brand new property that's better quality than what was available ready at the time. And also it potentially means there's less maintenance issues, there's less headaches with the unit. We can rent it for that 5 or 10 year period, and then potentially look at an exit for them to, whether it's be to an end user, someone who's planning to use the unit for themselves. So that would tend to be the sort of life cycle of someone buying off plan and us managing it, renting it out, and so forth. Okay, I think I briefly touched on a second ago that in the past there has been moments where people would buy a property and flip it, even the same day. The reality is that these days the market has become a lot more stable. Obviously, with a bigger population, the growth has slowed, shall we say, to a much more sensible level, which I think is fantastic for Dubai long term. And it means that people should be buying off-plan properties with a view for at least a year or 18 months. Quite often, if their view is not to rent it at all and they just want to exit, we can look at the best payment terms so they can buy something with some capital growth in it until handover maybe, and we can look to sell that unit to an end user upon handover, potentially to a finance buyer who maybe couldn't have afforded to buy the unit off plan and make the cash payments. So that's an opportunity in itself that you can make a capital growth.